Hello, this is gonna be pre-notice for this video. I think this video is gonna be 5-6 minutes. I don't know how long it's gonna be. I'm not gonna say 5-6 minutes because then I'm gonna go over the mark and it's gonna be like, well, I said 5-6 minutes, but it's actually like 10 minutes. This video is gonna be more of a story-based video. I'm thinking inside my head and trying to make it. It's kind of weird way I'm trying to do it, but this is the way I want to do it. I think if it's a story-based video, I think it'll connect to like more bases. I guess it's my own as well thing. It's not like a philosophy video where a lot of creators have done. You know, it's something that I thought of it that's outside the box rather than I'm reworking or reimagining like a talking philosophy video. This is still a talking video. Don't get me wrong. This is a talking video, but this is more of like I'm improvising something that I have in my head, you know. But let's get on with this blabbering. Let's get on with the video. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's start. There was once little Sally who lived in a family. The family rejected little Sally as little Sally didn't have much to say, and the parents weren't very good to her. They once whipped little Sally, hurted little Sally, didn't make little Sally happy at all. They didn't like little Sally. They took a lot of things that they shouldn't took, but they took. So little Sally was left upon a big road to unhappiness. It was a gloomy road, a high road, a one-way road to hell. It was, or at least what hell was to her, at least. She was only merely 8 years old, so she didn't really know what to do. It was all new to her. As time struck her, she was quite bright and vibrant at times and charismatic. But again, that times changed as little Sally went into this poorhouse. She saw a few people she wanted to talk to, but no one wanted to talk to little Sally. She was quite different to the other kids, quite mystic and not very, becoming very detached and outlandish and standoffish. The other kids made fun of her, bullied her, because she was different. She didn't really know how to talk to people in the end, so she tried to kind of resort to other things. She had her special doll which she brought to this poor house. She always called her my dear. My dear, she called her a couple of times, then she changed the name. The more older she got, she changed her name to things she saw. She didn't really see much though, except for the wallpaper inside the poorhouse. It was dank and moldy, so she didn't really know how to resort with a name. So she called it a mop because it looked like because the doll had a mop hair. So that was the only friend she really had, at least until she became 16. Times changed and she became more resilient and more mature, though still showing her immature angst towards the other children out there, teenagers. Little Sally wanted to be more independent. She read a little book called How Do I Get Out of This Town and Move On to the Next. It was a very weird story because she didn't know how to fully compare her life to the author's life, or the author who's writing the life, in third person. Her life revolved around just the people in there and the food and nothing else. There was no fun at all. She wanted to know what's outside the real world, as many people do. She didn't really know, except she saw in her window once a goat, and she was quite scared because she never seen someone, you know, quite dressed like that, because everyone was dressed in a quite conservative traditional way. So little Sally was appealed by the sense of being an outcast, but that didn't change her cast of becoming what she really wanted to be. She started going out as the poorhouse let her out sometimes in the rain. So she became more sane when she read stories in the library, in the local library upstairs in the streets of highway. It wasn't the same way though. It was quite tyrant going on in her head. She didn't know what to say. It was like a shed of a blood tear running around and nothing going around. It was just Ouroboros, the snake who bites his own tail. That was like to her, because although she wanted more of life, the life she had kept fighting her inside, in her head, everywhere. It was quite mad, very mad world. She once heard a song in the library called Mad World. She didn't really know who I was, because it was her first time hearing a song like that. She didn't really hear any songs in her childhood, except for one song that she always heard, and it always started creeping her. You know, her dad always would play Nick Drake, and the cello song would always hit her. but she didn't really know any other song like that. But that song always stuck to her because it was his voice, his soothing voice that struck her. But that song she reflected in her own life, and she was quite comparative of the singing and the lyrical dynamic of what she actually resented herself. But that wasn't the problem. The problem was she was almost an adult, not really actually fulfilling anything she really wanted to do. She always wanted to be a movie star or something to make people laugh. But she always lived a rough life. But she always knew that she could do it if she had enough grip. But that didn't really stick to her because everyone would pick and make fun of her like a little child. She didn't really know. She wasn't really attracted to anyone because everyone who she felt attracted to let her down and put her in the ground and she never sewn her back into pieces. She was like a voodoo doll. A needle kept hitting her in every muscle she could ever possibly have. So it was quite a problem for little Sally. But that didn't really let her down. She still kept moving. Next couple of years, she turned 18. She had to leave the poorhouse. It was the day that she had to graduate and make her life her own. But it was quite sad because the poorhouse didn't really give her really much money or any accommodation. So she had to kind of make it for her own. But she never gave up. She kept striding, proving people wrong, singing the songs, wanting to be what she wanted to be. And the dreams, you can always accomplish them. She always heard in her head, you never give up. She like last year she heard a song by George Harrison. She heard a George Harrison song. It was called she heard Any Road Will Take You There. That was the lyric of the song. Well, Any Road was the song name, but she didn't really know the song. She only knew the lyric of only Any Road Will Take You There, and she kind of related to her. It's like, I go to the future and I've been to the future and the past. But she always wanted to feel like, what's it like of going in any road? But she always had the positivity. She wanted just to feel alive and be herself with people that will make her feel like herself. But that was stagnant and quite unrealistic at times. And 18, 19 was a very hard age, an age that she started to mature into a young lady who didn't really know how to converse. Her anxieties of conversing would still attract her and make her feel bottomless, in a bottomless pit. Though she like she always had in her mind, she never gave up. She pursued her dream, going from corner to corner just to get something out of people. She pushed herself beyond her limits at times. And she tried to kind of be spontaneous and not try to show people that she's weak. But even though she might have felt a lot of times like giving up. Again, this is another time she heard a song when she's 19, her 19th birthday. She heard a song. It was called by Brand New. It was called You Won't Know. She related to that song, as that song was like a needle over her parents, especially, who left her behind. Her drunk parents, bad parents, abused her, attacked her, didn't like her, and they pretty much sent her to this poorhouse. But she was in strife of the past. She still wanted to make a future of her own. She didn't really care of what happened before. It was just a dream. Maybe it was all a dream. Maybe it's not real. Maybe we're all not real. That's what she thought, at least. Putting her headphones on, drinking a bit of water. Maybe it's not my time to kind of let go and let live and become more. What is more? What is anything at this point? I don't know. She didn't really know anything. She really wanted to buy an instrument, so she did. She ran into a musical instrument store and she got herself a keyboard. She wasn't big into piano concertos, but she loved that. She loved piano ballads. She loved them. She loved The Scientist by Coldplay, so she really wanted to do it, especially exploring that music for the first time, especially leaving the poorhouse. Before she got the accommodation she wanted after seeking a lot of times with the owner. She got this accommodation year before, but before that she didn't really have anything. It was very trapped in a world that she didn't want to be in. But now it's better, she said. Now it's better. You don't have to have these negative feelings. But they still crept in, she said. And hope that, one day the leaf will turn a new flower and a new day will become brighter and the sun will shine the most it can through the window of her bedroom wall. The curtains would flutter, the bees would ring with flowers and with blossomness around the clouds, and maybe the instruments will ring as well. Maybe the crows will sing, as well as the ravens and the seagulls, and all the nature demise will become as one, she said. The world is always a negative place, but if you make it more negative, it'll just become a crowd of hopeless people, she said. She was 21, and it was the dark moon was bright. It pulsed with blood. But it didn't pulse with blood. There was a lake beside her. The lake was green than the greener grasser pastures. But she thought to herself, as living better life. Was my life an irony? Was it ironic? Historical ironic? Was it already predetermined? Was all this just done so I could become more stronger? Maybe more unbreakable as well. Her determination led her to this path, also looking into the future all the time. She always had out-of-the-box ideas she always thought of. But now she was 21 and she got accepted in a college. It was a college of her dream. It was art, a thing that she started to love. She started to enjoy, because art was sort of like for a broken person who was their experience to show paint in a designing kind of way. It showed it in a glossom way, in their own style. They showed their own pain inside their images, almost like a song. For her it was, at least. Though she got disinterested in quite a bit of few things that she always had. She still kept her doll though, but disinterest kept upon her. Again, she was still becoming very standoffish, very brooding at times, almost thinking of the what if, could, and all these theories of, what if my life ended the next day and I'm never to wake up. But never give hope. At least that's what Alan Watts said. Never give up, keep moving on, even when the world pushes you against the wall. Those 4 walls, she said. I remember. Wallpaper, mold, and just a complete cage. It's like maybe mentally ill people aren't actually mentally ill who are in those asylums. Maybe they're kept upon because they know more than we do. That's what she thought to herself. It was quite of a daydream, but the enormity is that is what is. What is everything? She thought of it again. This is another time she thought of it, and she kept thinking of this all the time up until she was in her mid-20s. Mid-20s was a glossom period. She graduated with art. She became one of the most successful artists in her time, even winning prizes for art, having ceremonies, presented prizes, getting money. But she never wanted to be famous. She always wanted to prove people wrong. That was her thing. That's why she always wanted to be a movie star. She wanted to show her parents that even though they threw her out, that she was on the screen while they were watching her. That's what she wanted. She wanted her parents to be the watchers and she be the one who's be dancing and showing them what she can do. She just wanted to be the star. But she was the star. But her parents, they sadly passed away before she could have actually witnessed all of this. They actually passed away when she was only 16. She never could have witnessed all that. And she thought to herself, well, at least I have my doll who always kept watching me. My doll would describe everything to them if it could speak, at least. I never gave it a proper name. I always kept changing its names as well, because I didn't really know what to call it. I don't really had many vocabulary understanding of names, because I didn't really have really much brothers and sisters. Or maybe I did, but I was too young to understand what anything is, or anyone comes out anywhere. I thought just people are just like a pass and go. But then she thought, yeah, we are. That's exactly what life is. We're just pass and go. We're just that little blink of a tear that keeps falling, and every time it falls we disappear. That tear disappears and we disappear. She said, whom I must disrupt this awakening hour, because my power is soon gonna weaken. In the mist of the days, in the mist of the hour, the cry of the wolf, I will shun upon this day. My headphones will turn brighter than the brightest color, and my head will fall apart in the night. Maybe not at night, but someday. And now she was in her 30s. Then she came in her 40s. This time she had a very midlife crisis. She didn't really know what to do. She didn't really have any partner. Or at least she didn't really conceive of any partner, because she always wanted to be herself. She didn't really have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. She didn't have the time. Though she always wanted to have some kind of friend that did understand her. But that was the problem. She never had that person. Yes, she had people, but no one really understood how she felt and how she did things. It was just a pass and go thing. She always thought it for herself. Then the days became more older, and then she became more older and older. And then she was lying. And her final days, even when the 30s and 40s became more of a days of her just being the shadow of herself, she's like, at least I accomplished one thing in life. I did what many others couldn't have done, and I proved a lot of things that even some people who didn't see it, I still proved it. And that's the most important thing in this whole universe and in this pale blue dot, is to believe in yourself and believe in your gut as much as you can, because if you can't, no one else can.
I subscribe to my nihil. Feel what you gotta feel. It'll be vibes and describes. Fortunate lies the key of the shout. Don't forget to rush, roll. Some don't relate, let me know one strive. Sees this bright side. Content stands across my mind. Find a lavish line. Sees this bright side. Content stands across my ground. Find a lavish sign. I sit high as the gravity shines, but wouldn't transpire the bugs divine.